Howdy everyone, it's been a while since the last stream, and tonight we're coming at you from Knoxville Dirt Track, and we have the USA Truck Series tonight. Tomorrow night we've got the Bush Series here at Knoxville as well, and so the trucks here are settling in for the NOSVille 200. But before we can get to the main event, we're going to have 3 heats and an LCQ. And each of these heats, the winner is going to transfer to the main event. Everyone that loses in each heat are going to get relegated to the LCQ, and 2 drivers from the LCQ will transfer. So starting on the front row, we've got Chris Harvey alongside Jessica Hergeson here for Heat 1. Taden Berggren and Jacob Shangle, Matias Nunez and Noah Hobson, Will Turner and Santi Messi round out your first round for the first heat here. 20 laps, so it's going to be a fairly lengthy heat to determine. I mean, the laps are going to go by pretty quickly here. The half-mile dirt track. But whoever wins this race will get transferred into the main event, the 200-lap main event amongst the top 37 in points.
Guys, going to be coming to you here in a sec. Big day. Let's make the most of it. Good luck.
Pace truck is off, and they're getting ready to hit the restart zone. Green flag waving, and Chris Harvey off to the early lead here. It's really a different strategy set on these dirt tracks. Taden Berggren rolling into second there. So far it is a stinker of a show, 7 laps into this one, and Chris Harvey has taken far off away from the field. Taden Berggren in second, and looks like the 11 of Will Turner's worked his way up to third. Yeah, so Turner's come from way in the back to get his way up to third so far. We're going to have to keep an eye on the time difference to see if he's closing on the leader. 4.7 seconds back with only 10 laps to go. He's going to have to knock it off about half a second a lap. The only thing that might factor into this is if Chris Harvey catches up to the rear end of the field, if that might slow him down a little bit, but that ain't going to happen within the next couple laps. That's probably going to be a moot point, actually. And just like that, Matias Nunez is working his way up to third here. As really it seems to be Taden Berggren the only one within a potential shot at the lead here. That Dodge Ram, Chris Harvey, is just too strong to boot. Seven laps to go this time by, and we've been caution free for the entirety of this one so far. It just don't even seem fair at this point. The number 2 truck rolling hard and rolling strong. And if this heat was any longer, he would likely catch the tail end of the field here. As you can see, he's about a stone's throw away from catching the rear end of the field there. Not going to matter any because he is dominated this first heat and is going to lock his way up into the main event tonight. Newcomer to the series, this is his first ever attempt in the USA Truck Series. Harvey will definitely get to start. He's qualified for the main event here in the first ever start for the USA Truck Series. White flag this time by. One more lap and it's official. You can still have mechanical failure knock you out right here though. You never know. Making that last turn, coming down the front straight here. Congratulations to Chris Harvey on making his first ever career start here in the USA Truck Series. Going on to the LCQ will be the 88 of Noah Hobson, the 5 of Santi Messi, the 71 of Matias Nunez, the 40 of Jessica Hergeson, the 11 of Will Turner, the 64 of Jacob Shangle, and the 43 of Taden Berggren. Definitely not the end of the road for them, as the LCQ, they will have 2 drivers qualify from it. So Chris Harvey is your first trainer. Okay, heat number 2 for the night. Our entries are going to be the 51 of Cannon Gage and the 113 of Skylark Chips. Then we've got the 6 of Morgan Webb and the 49 of Chasey Plays. The 79 of James Fireball Robert and the 83 of Nate Gonzalez. Then you've got the 7 of Roland Heidfeld and the 31 of Luke. Of course, just like heat number 1, only one will transfer. All the rest will be subject to the LCQ later in the evening here.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
Our first heat was dominated by newcomer Chris Harvey. Morgan Webb is in this one, also a newcomer to the series, and he's going to have an opportunity here to race his way into the main event.
All right, buddy. Nice long day. We're right here to support you. Do the best we can. Get a good finish out.
They're off and going, and it looks like Cannon Gage is going to get the early lead here. Morgan Webb following behind is going to be able to slot into second. Not quite, as Chips is fighting on the outside. Chips is going to settle into second there. So just like heat number 1, 20 laps long, and we're going to have 8 trucks fighting for the lead position here as only the first one transfers. Chip seems to be running a very unique line. He's right in the dark spot on the track where the track is rubbering up, and this is allowing him to catch up to Cannon Gage here. Chips is running him down. We might have a fight for the lead in this the second heat here. Currently, it's the Toyota leading over the Ford, and that F-150 running right there behind him. It's fighting to make a pass for the lead here. These two get side by side. That might help the other guys draw in closer. Just like that, the 113 is closed up and making a pass on the 51. Getting side by side here. 51 is going to lead the lap that time. At least we're going to see a little bit more action here in heat number 2. It's definitely harder to gauge the newcomers on the series, since this is some of them it's their first shot in the series. But the reason why you're seeing this, a lot of it, the drivers at the back of the point standings should run pretty close together on field here. And as you can see, the 113 and the 51 having a heated battle for the win in the second heat. But yeah, with those newcomers, it kind of throws a curveball because we don't know, we can't gauge their strength on track until they take the track for the first time. So they're definitely the wild card out on track right now. Morgan Webb is not faring quite as well as Chris Harvey did in his first ever heat. Chip's now starting to drive away from Cannon Gage, and with that, the 83 of Nate Gonzalez is catching up to Gage here. But don't rest yet, as the 51 might be trying to mount a charge comeback here. Trying to close that gap back up. Within only 8 laps to go, he's going to have to make it count. What's going to be impressive is once we get 42 trucks out here, there's no telling the chaos that we're going to see. We'll likely see lap traffic become a factor with 200 laps here, and there are probably going to be some wrecks. There's probably going to be some carnage, And this is just an appetizer for the event later tonight, so you don't want to miss out. Definitely tune back in if you tune out for a while. You're going to want to see all 42 trucks out on field here. And the only reason that we have to do these qualifiers in the truck series is we have 60 active drivers trying to make the field every week. And with that, we've got to do heat races. We've got to do sprint qualifiers to set the field. And at the dirt track, I figured we'd do something a little bit different and allow for some extra racing on track, since the 200 lap main event most likely is going to go pretty quickly, especially with the size of this track and how fast they run around it. This time by white flag for Chips, and Cannon Gage unfortunately was not able to close the gap. So it's looking like Chips is probably going to be your transfer, and the remainder going to the LCQ will be the 51 of Cannon Gage, the 83 of Nate Gonzalez, the 49 of Chasey Plays, the 79 of James Robert, the 6 of Morgan Webb, the 31 of Luke, and the 7 of Roland Heidfeld.
Favor, touch all your seatbelts, touch your connections, touch your Hans. Just make sure you get everything like you want it. Favor, touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections, touch your Hans. Just make sure you get everything like you want it.
Alrighty, on to heat number 3 here, and we're fresh with some more talent joining the series. Gavin Gray here hops into the number 20 after the absence of their previous driver. And then we've also got the number 80 truck of Richard Townsend. Then you've got the 35 of Kat Durham and Adam Kraus, Anheuser Wachner and Josh Drake, Kenyon Hall and William Kinsella Jr. But yeah, on the front row, our top 2 drivers, brand new to the series. Seems to be a trend tonight that our newcomers are starting pretty close up front. And we've got this one and then the LCQ before the main event here tonight. Thank you to Adam Sandler for the Start Your Engines.
How about there? You got me?
I got a feeling that this one might be a little bit more action-packed than the last 2 combined. So get ready for a good old-fashioned race here. Off to the start, it's Gavin Gray, but Kat Durham not letting go either. Racing pretty hard on the backside there. A lot of these drivers hungry to get one of their starts in the series. Some of them have not made starts yet in the trucks. And definitely Gavin Gray being one of those, making his debut here. Kat Durham in second, running really close to the 80 of Richard Townsend there. And now we've settled into single file running as Kat Durham cuts across in front of Townsend. Kenyon Hall running on the inside, and Townsend making a pass back for second. Looks like Townsend's going to try to run the leader down here. Kenyon Hall came from very deep at the back of the field, already up to third. As Gavin Gray currently holding the position, but looks like he's going to have competition for that lead spot. Townsend running a very familiar line to the way that Chips did in that last heat. Just contrary to what the leader's doing, and it seems to be paying off here as he's going to try to make a pass Wow, and contact almost. They're keeping it off each other, but that was a very heated battle for the lead, and Townsend's going to come away with it. Our LCQ is going to have 21 entries, so half of the main field. And like mentioned earlier, only 2 of them will transfer into the main event from that LCQ. It's going to be a pretty good racing, I imagine, seeing everyone fight for those top 2 spots. Things at the front of the field here keeping pretty steady as Townsend's not able to drive away from Gray quite yet. The 2 of them fighting hard for this lead. And this is going to get interesting here as Gavin Gray is not going away. Townsend's driving a pretty steady wheel at the front, but if there's any mistake made, Gavin Gray is going to pounce. Seven laps to go, and the rest of the field definitely far off the pace as these 2 are driving off into the sunset. It's going to just come down to who's got the best setup, the best line here in the closing laps. I guess I have not noticed because I can't see it myself, but I really hope that the ticker is working well. We'll make sure that that's the case once we start the main event, of course. And it doesn't really mean much in these heats in LCQ because obviously the focus is on the front of the field. If so-and-so is not the leader, they are not making it onto the main event. Two laps to go this time, and the lead is stayed pretty stagnant between the 2 of them. Not much gain, not much loss, as Townsend has continued to lead since passing the 20 truck. 2 laps to go now, because the laps click by so quickly here at Knoxville. And here we go with it's going to be white flag this time by Richard Townsend in his first ever attempt. And Richard Townsend takes the win here in heat number 3 and transfers on to the main event. Gavin Gray, second to that, is going on to the LCQ. 35 of Kat Durham. The 95 of Anheuser Wagner. the 15 of Kenyon Hall, the 3 of William Kinsella Jr., the 86 of Josh Drake, and the 91 of Adam Krause. So congratulations to Richard Townsend on making it to the main event in his first ever career start.
Like you want it.
Alrighty, time for our LCQ here in the USA Trucks. The top 2 finishers from this LCQ will make it to the NOSVille 200 tonight, joining the rest of the field that's already there. Starting on the front row, we've got Gavin Gray and Cannon Gage. Then you've got Tayden Berggren and Jessica Hergeson, Chasey Plays and Noah Hobson, Kat Durham and Anheuser Wagner, Morgan Webb and Santi Messi, Adam Krause and Roland Heidfeld, Jacob Shangle and Will Turner, Nate Gonzalez and Luke, James Fireball Robert and Kenyon Hall, Matias Nunez and William Kinsella Jr., and then Josh Drake at the very back there. This LCQ is going to last 60 laps, so it gives everyone a little bit more of an opportunity to race for it here. And with that, we'll see who's going to come out on top here after 60 laps on track here at Knoxville. We do have the very possible chance that 2 drivers making their first career start could come out of this one. Morgan Webb's a little bit deeper back, but up at the very front we've got Gavin Gray, who would be making his inaugural start here in the Truck Series if he's able to qualify through. Off to the early lead, it's Gavin Gray, but Tayden Berggren's wasting no time, showing that he's got the expertise on the dirt here. He's going to make a pass for the lead, and they're wrecking back there. We're getting a wreck here in the LCQ. It looks like Tayden Berggren and Gavin Gray are going to hold those first 2 positions going into the caution. They race back around to the caution flag. It's Tayden with the lead. So let's see exactly how this all played out. Who was involved in the first wreck of tonight's action? The 95 of Wagner gets into the 88, and that collects the 91 of Krause, and the 5 of Santi Messi slightly involved. Other than that, mostly looked to be a 2-truck wreck between the 2 of those guys. As you can see, he just clipped the 88 of Noah Hobson, and this collected the 91 of Adam Krause and the 5 of Santi Messi. Everyone else is able to slide by without taking much as a scratch. The 11, everyone woed up and was able to get around. And with that, we're going to be right back to racing here shortly because the laps under caution do not last long here. A little bit as we can catch up to speed. Tayden Berggren with the lead, Gavin Gray in second, Cannon Gage in third, and Chasey Plays in fourth. Kat Durham rounding out your top 5. There won't be any green-white checkers in the LCQ. Only the main event tonight, so it could potentially end under caution here. This was to be expected once you added more trucks on field. The first 3 heats of 8 was definitely very tame. Once you throw 21 trucks out there, it's most likely guaranteed that there's going to be a wreck. Some of these guys look to be a little bit buffed up, beat up in the back, partially involved in some of the carnage and wreck early on lap 1. The lights are out on the pace truck and they're going to get double filed up here. Coming around the last couple turns. Taden Bergeron and Gavin Gray lead the field. And we're going to try it again here as the green flag waves. Going into turn 1, Taden taking the lead, and Cannon Gage might be able to secure a position here as they go 3 wide with Gavin Gray on the outside. Gavin Gray actually settles in front of them all. No wrecks, no worries. Cat Durham on a tear on the inside, making moves, getting by Cannon Gage there. We're staying green, and even the 95 of Anheuser-Wagner, who just got involved in that wreck, he's showing some strength, giving a push to Noah Hobson there, trying to move to the front. And the crazy part about this is second place is where you want to finish. It doesn't matter. You don't have to win. You could finish second and still transfer to the main event. Anheuser-Wagner definitely would be a surprise coming from wrecking early on in the race to try and transfer to the main event. He's already up to 4th. All he's got in front of him is Cat Durham and Gavin Gray to make the main event. 2 trucks that stand in his way. Jessica Hergeson making a bold move here on the inside, pushing Anheuser-Wagner high. Wagner's going to have to settle down and regroup here once an open line is on the inside there. All in the meantime, Taden Bergeron out there cruising in the lead. Seems that things have settled out single file for now. Kind of the calm before the storm, I imagine. 60 laps is still going to be a good run here to determine who's got the best truck and who's earned their way into the main event. Look at that, Cannon Gage making some moves back up to the front here. And we might even have a fight for the lead as Taden Bergeron is getting caught up in the grasp of Gavin Gray here. Gavin Gray going on the inside, making the pass. And it looks like Taden's going to fight back on that outside and keep the lead this time by. Taden does not want to fall back to second because that'll put him right on the bubble of not making it if he makes a mistake. And just like that, Gavin Gray takes the lead away. Oh, we might have some back and forth action here. These two better play it smart and not wreck each other out. Taden doesn't want to settle into second here. He wants to try to fight back for that lead. As you can see, these two are so evenly matched. They couldn't be anything far from. They're so far different with the Chevy engine and the Toyota engine power. But these two trucks are running hard for this win here in the LCQ. Oh, the 64 had to rejoin the field after making a late race pit stop. That's definitely going to put Jacob Schengle out of any contention for making the main event here today. Ooh, and Tayden runs him right on back as he's driving it deep into the turn. Gavin Gray loses the position. These two fighting hard for the lead. And if this is any indicator, we should have a great 200 lap race here with the main event. We've already cleared the lap distance of 20, which was our heat distance. The distance of this one is the equivalent of all 3 heats combined with these guys. Gotta imagine you don't want to be in this LCQ because you're putting more stress and strain on these engines than what would be preferred, making it right into a 200 lap event after this. So perhaps it's not going to be a factor for these guys. Tayden Berggren would love to make the main event here today. He's had a struggle of it in the Truck Series in 2023. And what we're looking at here with Gavin Gray, with the departure of Ryan Little, Gavin Gray steps in to fill the seat for the remainder of the season and perhaps for the future of this team. So, new driver, new seat, and this truck's still looking as strong as it's definitely a ringer of a truck for sure. You could probably fit just about anyone in this equipment. It's got the power of the Walker Bros filling it. That doesn't take anything away from Gavin Gray. He's still running really good. Takes a lot of skill and a lot of talent to hop into a rig that you've never driven before and do exactly this, running second on track, looking to qualify for your first ever main event. It seems that the battle behind them is kind of petered out as Jessica Hergeson is in third. Anheuser Wagner, man, that would have been such a story if he could come all the way back to the front and qualify for the main event after wrecking earlier. But lap traffic could still play a factor in this, and as you can see, there's still quite a gap, so it would take about another 15 to 20 laps before that's even a factor. Everyone in this heat, their speeds are pretty consistent across the field, so in order for them to catch up, they're going to have to go quicker than what they're going right now. And we're already over halfway. We only have 28 laps to go after finishing 32 of them. Hope y'all are enjoying this format for the dirt race. We will likely continue this format next dirt race and on. Each paved and road course, all those other ones, we're still going to stick to the sprint qualifier, which will be one race run before the main event to qualify 7 people into the main event. The only reason we only had 5 open slots in this one is we're trying to roll out a new program to allow for drivers to make their first start, and basically a hat draw determines one driver that'll make it into the main event until they've all made their start in the truck series. And so that might be 1 week we might have a newcomer and they'll be guaranteed to start just based on that rule. But after that, they're going to have to revert back to where they are in the point standings. This is just to give everyone an opportunity to make a start and get, get noticed, get their time on screen, basically. And so from here on out, instead of 7 transfers from the sprint qualifier, it's going to look more like 6. And with tonight, because of that, we had a mistake and tallied one more person in. So ultimately, it was down to 5, and I felt that it was fitting just to do it a little bit differently for the dirt track. So with that said, Gavin Gray took the lead back away from Taden Berggren. And now Berggren's going to have to hope that Jessica Hergeson doesn't close in. As you can see, there's still a pretty sizable gap from him to 3rd. So he should be relatively safe, but that's never a given. Especially now that you can see lap traffic is going to become a factor here. And that'll probably become a factor with about 20 laps to go. More like 15 laps to go. Jessica Hergeson makes it by the lap truck of Jacob Shangle there. Still fighting side by side with those two. Barring any mechanical error, it looks like our top 2 is going to remain relatively unchanged here. Our LCQ has definitely been the most exciting run so far. Even though we had a wreck and a caution period, these two have been the top 2 for the whole thing. And they've been able to swap the lead back and forth numerous times already. So, I mean, we've got to see some action here in the LCQ. And for sure, we're going to see more of that in the 200 lap main event. Now we've got the lap traffic. And it's going to all come down to who can make the moves and avoid losing momentum here. Gavin Gray now on the bumper of Adam Kraus. Looks like he's going to drive around Adam Kraus pretty easily there. But now it's going to be Taden Berggren's opportunity to do the same thing and avoid losing momentum. Jessica Hergeson is settled back in behind the lap truck there. So she's going to have her work cut out for her to get up to Taden and take that transfer spot. Meantime, Taden's kind of fallen into a lull here as he's not finding a way around the lap traffic. He's getting slowed up significantly here, and the 64 and the 40 could possibly close in. Even Gavin Gray is having a hard time making moves, as it seems he's kind of plateaued there. Not able to get around the 7 of Roland Heidfeld. 3 wide in front of him. There's absolutely nowhere for him to go as it's a roadblock. Tayden gets by. Man, they're racing. Very hairy situation for the lead group as there could be a wreck here that would take him out of contention. Would not want that to happen. Nice thing now is Tayden's got a lapped truck as a buffer here, which will allow him to continue to get safer and safer away from losing that transfer spot. Tayden's not done. Tayden could potentially still run around and try to take the lead back here if he makes the right moves. 5 laps to go. So far, they have masterfully processed their way through the lap traffic without losing too much. Gavin Gray going on the outside of Luke there. Not going to work. It's going to slow him up a little bit. Tayden going on the inside of Webb. The more of this, the more likely that Tayden could still win this LCQ. Side by side again, that's going to slow up Gavin Gray. Here comes Tayden. 2 laps to go this time by. One more and we'll see the white flag. And look at that. Tayden is eating up ground there to try and catch the 20 truck. That 20 truck having a hard time getting around the 31. White flag waving, and we've got potential battle on our hands. Oh, and finally, Gavin Gray decides to take the inside this time on the 31 and smartened up there. Really doesn't make much of a difference because both these guys are going to transfer to the main event. Gavin Gray and Tayden Berggren are going to join the other 40 drivers here for a 200 lap spectacular. Alrighty, time for the main event here this evening with the NOSVille 200 for the USA Truck Series here at Knoxville. 200 laps be contested amongst your field here. Chris Harvey and Tim Cording on the front row. Rookie starting on the front. Definitely a surprise there. Great to see new talent starting up front. Then you got Connor Cooper and Jordan Walker, Atlee Weiss and Bradley Ream, Trevor Walker and Nathan Morgan, and Richard Townsend alongside Chaz Chadwick, Matthew Fastnot and Al Bunch, Ant Meeperson and another newcomer, Gavin Gray, Zach Armstrong and Cash, Jakov Rosovich and Tayden Berggren, the 113 of Chips and Krista Cower, Tim Hansen and Brian DeBlank in his brand new unsponsored paint scheme after the departure of Greyhound from his team, Avery Farrell and Charlie Chippington, John Brinker and David Bird, Maggie Reams and Adam Gerber-Forian, Paul Ladino and Andrew Moger, Jack Davis and Colton Smith, Chris Ferguson and Craig Popkris, Philip Leeds and Dave Steele, Leighton Avyard and Quinn Ryan, Gannon Bird and Daniel Paulus, and at the very back, Luis Rodriguez and Gavin Legend. So we're going to see our rookie take the field to the green here.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
200 laps. We're definitely going to get treated to a great race here at Knoxville. Tim Cording on the outside definitely would love to bring home the victory here. Winning it last year here at Knoxville, he could become the first back-to-back winner here at this track. The only driver capable of doing that tonight. And Chris Harvey off with the early lead. Connor Cooper behind him. And Chris Harvey's going to settle in with that lead. Connor Cooper up to second. Atlee Weiss going to fight for that position. A little bit of help from Trevor Walker pushing behind him. And now we got the two blue Dodge trucks running 1-2. Chris Harvey, rookie, and his first start here in the USA Trucks, leading laps to begin his career. Atlee Weiss won one of the dirt races earlier this season. He actually took home victory at Eldora, so he's no stranger to running good here on these dirt tracks. Trevor Walker, kind of a surprise, as he's put all of his development into road course racing, and he showed up to play today here at Knoxville with a good run, moving his way up to second. Meantime, Chris Harvey making it look easy in his first ever start, leading the way. Ooh, and Connor Cooper gets up to third, making a pass on Atlee Weiss there. And now Atlee Weiss is going to have to weather the storm with the rest of the contenders behind him. Doesn't get any easier holding off the likes of Ant Meeperson, Chaz Chadwick, or Tim Cording. It's impressive, the initial start here, that we're staying green for the first 10 laps without any cause for caution. And it's the largest field we've seen tonight between the 8 race heats and the 21 truck LCQ. We've got 42 trucks out on field right now, and they're all driving very expert-like, avoiding collision and calamity. These three at the front not showing any signs of slowing down. Chris Harvey, new to the series, obviously is not anywhere near contending for a championship. However, a win here today could help get him up into the top 35 in points. And with the top 35 and a win, that would put you into the first round of the playoffs. Obviously, a lot's got to happen, and for sure the top 35 is no given, no guarantee. But first ever career start, leading the whole field of veterans behind him. It's got to feel good. We're going to have to see how things shake out once they catch up to the lap traffic, which will likely be another 15 to 20 laps away. Tim Cording slots his way up into the top 5, getting by some of the other drivers that were running strong there to start. And it seems like we're going to see some of our dirt ringers working their way to the front of the field. Just like that, Trevor Walker is closing in on Chris Harvey here. Might potentially get to see a fight for the lead. Chris Harvey's led every lap so far, but Trevor Walker would like to change that. As you can see, Trevor's driving it in deep and getting right up to the rear bumper of that 2 truck. Possibly with a little bit of help from Atlee Weiss giving a bump draft behind him. Those two running really tight going into the turn there. Tim Cording slotting his way up to 4th now, getting by Connor Cooper. And Atlee Weiss getting by Trevor Walker for 2nd. So now it's back to the 2 Dodge trucks running 1-2. Running a lot of laps under green here, and Atlee wants to try and take the lead away. As Chris Harvey has led so far to this point, but it looks like we're going to have to give the position over to Atlee Weiss now as they catch up to the lap traffic. So Atlee Weiss takes the lead, but his job doesn't get any easier as now he's going to have to navigate through this lap traffic in front of him. Still, we've stayed green so far for the first 25 laps. New leader on lap 25, Atlee Weiss, taking it away from Chris Harvey. And Atlee making his presence known here amongst the lap traffic. Going on the inside, passing 2 trucks so far. About to get by his 3rd truck. And it's really going to come down to who's got the best strategy to get by all this lap traffic and do it quickly without losing any form of momentum. As we see there, Trevor Walker got by Chris Harvey. Chris Harvey now within the grasps of Tim Cording. Tim Cording looks like he's going to make it 3 wide for position there with Chris Harvey, the sandwich meat in the middle. So now we got Tim Cording up to 3rd. And Tim Cording already closing up on the 21 truck of Trevor Walker here. Almost makes side impact with the 21 as he's fighting for that position. This would be good for 2nd if he can get by him. Atlee Weiss having a harder time there ahead of them, navigating the traffic this time. Seems though that he's able to maintain a pretty sizable lead on Trevor Walker for now, as Trevor Walker now trying to defend his spot against Tim Cording. Chris Harvey seems to be having the rookie drop-off here, as he's fallen back to 4th, still holding on to 4th. Three wide there amongst Trevor Walker. Walker on the inside. It's amazing that they can run 3 wide around this small dirt track and still have room to spare. Tim Cording following right behind and also going 3 wide there. Makes the pass and settles in behind Walker. Atlee Weiss still making passes on lap traffic as he's already lapped the field all the way up to 25th, so there's only 24 trucks left on the lead lap with this dominant run by Atlee. Make it 23 trucks now as he got by another one. Tim Cording makes his way past Trevor Walker, slotting his way up to 2nd here. All in the meantime, Atlee Weiss still continuing to cruise away from the rest of the field. Already at lap 41 as the laps definitely click by pretty quickly here. Tim Cording with more on the line here, as a win would go a long way for him in his playoff fights for this season. Has not had the greatest start in 2023. Actually had a pretty rough stretch that has cost him a lot of points in the championship battle. A win would be a huge blessing for him. As you saw, the 09 of Matthew Fastnot actually came down pit road. Must have had a mechanical fault or something with that truck to have pitted on lap 43 here. Fuel system damage, roughly 80% damage to the fuel system, so that's going to be a retirement for the 09 truck. Has not cycled to it yet, but it'll likely be a retirement once he pips out of the screen there. Atlee's not getting too far away from Tim Cording. Cording still within range of catching up to him. Once they get through all this lap traffic for a moment, there's going to be a brief moment where there's open track for the two of them. And we'll have to see who's got the faster truck between them. Still caution free so far, as we've hit the quarter mark in this one at lap 50 of 150 laps to go. Atlee Weiss is making it look easy out front as there's only 18 trucks left on the lead lap now. Everyone has been lapped up to 19th on the track. It seems like an opportunity for Tim Cording to try and catch up. As you can see, Atlee Weiss not making as many moves on this lap traffic right now. As soon as I mentioned that, he's making a move on the 8 of Nathan Morgan here. But you gotta imagine this lap traffic's actually getting faster and much more harder to put laps down as you catch up to them, being the faster drivers out there. John Brinker in 17th, that's definitely no slouch of a run there. Atlee making it work as he puts him a lap down as well, with only 16 trucks left running on the lead lap. Chris Harvey still holding on for a top 5 right now. In 4th there. Trevor Walker in 3rd. Tim Cording in 2nd. Man, Atlee stretching it out even more now on Tim Cording. Taden Berggren in 15th going a lap down here, meaning Atlee is lapped all the way up to 15th. Only 14 trucks left on the lead lap. And here we go. We have a caution here on lap 60. Oh, it looks like no. Tim Cording, who was making a charge for the win here today, gets into it. Let's see how this all happened. Racing with lap traffic, the 8 of Nathan Morgan, he gets into him. Oh, and that is a hard hit for Tim Cording there. Just racing with lap traffic went wrong, as you can see. From 2nd place on track, that cost him the entire race. He hooks the 8, and because of the track, the inside barrier collects and brings him back out on track, and man, takes a gnarly tumble there. What was looking like an opportunity for him to try and earn back-to-back wins here at Knoxville went out the window with that one faulty mistake that he made racing alongside the lap traffic. He's fortunate no one else came around to hit him there after he finished tumbling. Let's check one more angle. Yep. Nope, that's unfortunate for sure. So now it's looking like it's going to be between perhaps Atlee Weiss and the Walker brothers today. After Tim Cording was showing some strength and had an opportunity to get the job done, but just fell short there with that one mistake that he made. Lights are off on the pace truck. Richard Townsend, the first truck, one lap down in ninth. Starting on the inside here. Kind of a standard old school double file restart where our lap traffics can get an opportunity to get their lap back. No, and there we had another wreck breakout with our leaders. Atlee Weiss was involved, Trevor Walker was involved, and now things are definitely going to hell in a handbasket. So not only did we lose Tim Cording in that last wreck, but it looks like the rest of our leaders are going to have a tough go of it here. The 59 of Gannon Bird on the inside, but I don't know what he was doing driving it in so hard there as he clobbers into the side of Atlee Weiss, our leader. This collects Trevor Walker, slamming him up into the wall and causing him to tumble. Jordan Walker's involved. Chris Harvey's involved. So all four of the trucks there were heavy contenders for the win today. The ones that are going to come out smelling peachy after that will be the 38, the 13 of Amp Me Person and the 00 of Jakov Rosevich and the 4 of Bradley Ream alongside Chaz Chadwick there. So a little bit variation. This thing's going to get turned upside down. Bradley Ream first. All these guys lap traffic right now. Amp Me Person in second. Jakov Rosevich third. Chaz Chadwick fourth. Fifth place, Al Bunch. Sixth, Jordan Walker. Seventh, Atlee Weiss. Eighth, Richard Townsend. Looks like Trevor Walker had to retire. Yep, the 21 of Trevor Walker out. Also out the 22 of Dave Steele and the 34 of Maggie Reams. The 33 truck also had a tire failure that forced them out of the race. Colton Smith, so Well, the initial start of this race looked pretty clean without much wrecks and chaos. Now everything has totally flipped upside down here. And our current leader is Bradley Ream over Ant Me Person and Rosevich. Now it's hopefully we can get back to racing and stay green for a while with this lap traffic causing so much chaos amongst the leaders. Those two drive around and get their lap back, so right now 11 trucks on the lead lap. Bradley Ream with the lead, Rosevich in second, and we're under caution yet again. The 96 of David Bird this time, collecting the 59 of Gannon Bird there. And the 10 of Jordan Walker just hooked him, evidently trying to get a caution there. But it looks like karma kicks in after the fact when Jordan Walker hooks him, loses traction, and slides down way hard, making it down to pit road. Perhaps that's what happened. He was trying to get to pit road and hook the 96. Okay, well, so far we have not been able to stabilize for another restart here. First start of the race we had was about a 70 lap green flag run, and now we can't even get a single lap under competition. Brian DeBlank back on the lead lap is going to be able to rejoin the field and catch up to the tail end of the field. So he's going to have an opportunity to, well, he's making another pit stop, which is going to give him a hard chance to get back. So he's going to fall back a lap down again. I guess I'll mention at this point, I've had to restart the race at least 3 times now because the game would crash when I got my first caution. And now, after I finally got the game fixed, after the first caution, we can't even get a green flag run going. So perhaps the game knew that this was going to happen. That once you get past the first caution, there's never-ending slew of cautions in sight. The other races were running so well up into the point they crashed, and now I've been able to get past the point of the game crashing, and the trucks on track don't want to stop crashing. So I do not know the ultimate solution to all this, as it seems like we're probably setting up for another restart here that's gonna end in calamity. Side by side, the trucks go rolling into turn 1 here. Bradley Ream with the lead. Hoping that they stay pointing forward here, get lined out and start running. Do not want to see any trucks lose traction here. So we stay green for 1 lap, which is better than what we've had so far. Atlee, we still on the lead lap fighting for positions here. lap traffic is on their pit strategy. The trucks with damage on them keep pitting, so we're really going to be down to about 3 trucks here on the lead lap before you know it. Staying green though, which is good. Running some competitive laps out here. Chadwick running in 4th right now. 4 wide for the exit off pit road. That's gonna get, ooh. They stay going without wrecking though. Rosevich up to 3rd, filling in for Jack Ross. And impressively enough, Richard Townsend in his first ever start running 2nd here. Trying to run down Bradley Ream for the lead. After that round of pit stops, we only have 7 trucks left on the lead lap now, which is kind of accurate to the way things were running, except the difference of the fact is not the same drivers leading the field. And perhaps there was some strategy involved with Atlee Weiss and those guys pitting like they did, getting fresh tires and running faster laps here. They might be able to, if we get a long green flag run the gambit here, get by the leaders, get their lap back, and potentially run the entire field down. That's a huge gamble since they can't get another caution to come their way. Caution would totally ruin any of that strategy. As you can see, the 19 of Atlee Weiss, for example, 1 lap down, so at least they're only 1 lap down after that pit stop. Chadwick now getting by up to 2nd, or actually correction, Rosevich up to 2nd, as both him and Chadwick got by Townsend. As we're on lap 87 of 200, still 113 laps to go. We go from one dominant field to another dominant field of drivers at the front here. Bradley Ream and Chadwick started off at Fontana earlier this year, running 1-2. The only difference being Jack Ross not in the 00, but rather Jakov Rosevich. Not seeming to be a factor yet, but these guys with the fresher tires haven't seemed to be able to make up some momentum on the leader as we assumed they might. Chadwick making a move here on Rosevich for 2nd. This will put Chadwick up another spot and contending for trying to take the lead away from Bradley Ream. These two running 1 and 2 in the points mostly all season long this year. And right now the advantage belongs to Chadwick by about 25 to 30 points over Bradley Ream. The only difference is Chadwick is yet to win a race in the trucks this year. Bradley Ream already has won once. And looking out front, leading like he is now, could potentially win 2 of them. Chadwick would like to answer that with a win of his own here today, though. Looks like we're going to be able to settle into another green flag, long green flag run here. Luckily, we've been able to. That brief stint of a wreck fest that we got to witness, basically the midpoint of the race. Totally a big bummer deal for Tim Cording, who was trying to contend to get his back-to-back win here, and all for naught, as racing for position amongst the lap traffic hooks the 8 truck, spins both of them out, and ruining both days for those 2 drivers. So, and now what we've got is a race that no one could have predicted, flipped on its head here. Chadwick with an opportunity. Bradley Ream with an opportunity. I was fearing after the game crashed 3 times on me that this was going to be the race that wasn't going to get done. But so far, all signs are pointing in the right direction here. One thing I've learned on this track, apparently you cannot utilize better cautions to its full extent for this track, as whatever happens in the coating with that mod causes it to crash out. So I decided to keep, at least I turned on better cautions this time again, but didn't select all options, and it seemed to fix it. So still have not pinpointed the exact problem. I think what happens is when you try to send the lap traffic to the back of the field, it freaks it out. So it probably has something to do with the double file restarts and sending the lap traffic to the back. It's my only guess. Doesn't happen at every track, but apparently this one does not like it. Well, we're past the halfway point, lap 105 of 200. And with that, I'm going to do a quick save of the race. Regardless of the mid-race drama there, we still have been witnessing a great race here at Knoxville. Our championship contenders running 1 and 2, also 1-2 in the points, so seems that the cream has risen to the top here. Bradley Ream and Chaz Chadwick. It's going to be a classic between these two all the way to the championship. Connor Cooper getting by Chadwick here with the fresher tires, I assume. 8th place, 1 lap down. He's going to try to get by Bradley Ream and get one of his laps back here. Rosevich might be under attack by Ant Me Person before long. Chris Harvey in 10th. Cash in 11th. And Atlee Weiss in 12th. Weiss went from having a potential race-winning truck to now fighting to get his lap back here. And things seem to be getting harder here for Chadwick, as perhaps his truck is going away from him or something. but not showing much strength at catching Bradley Ream, who's turning 17-second laps compared to the 18-second laps of Chadwick. And this is honestly what makes Knoxville such an exciting race. We get to see the true spirit of all these drivers on full force here. And just like Tim Cording trying as hard as he could to go for back-to-back wins, that, that added aggressiveness was what ended up causing him to lose the race tonight. But isn't that what we all love to tune in and see, is the action and the spirit that these guys put into it each week. Even then, Bradley Ream starting to show that he's got some prowess on dirt track racing here. Something that most people probably didn't expect to see from him. This helps give him an opportunity for the championship this year to cement that position, showing that he's well-rounded and capable at winning at just about any track we race at. Chadwick still struggling to catch up to him as Bradley Ream continues to put more and more trucks down a lap. Connor Cooper starting to catch up to him, wants to get his lap back here. $80 laps to go, still plenty of racing to be had here. Bradley Ream's on the inside of Quinn Ryan. And then right in front of him, the 61 of Brian DeBlanc running mid-pack in 22nd. Luis Rodriguez in 21st. Both these drivers going to be 2 laps down now. Connor Cooper desperately wants to cruise through this lap traffic to get by Bradley Ream and position himself to be on the lead lap for any potential caution that could come out. Bradley Ream's making it hard though as he continues to fly through the field at an excessive speed here. Lap 123 of 277 laps to go. Seems to be a great night for newcomers to the series. Jakov Rosovich in 3rd, Richard Townsend in 4th, and Gavin Gray in 6th. Even further back, 1 lap down, Chris Harvey in 10th. So simply a great night for newcomers. Even looking throughout the rest of the field, not a bad race for most, so kind of getting into the lull of the long run here as the lead has stretched to a sizable 2.5 second lead for Bradley Ream over Chaz Chadwick. Bradley Ream would be looking at potentially his second career win here in the USA Trucks. And Chadwick still trying to find his first win. Even though he's the points leader, it's crazy to think that he leads the points with 0 wins so far. At times tonight, some of the lap traffic looking like parked cars out there as these guys go blowing by them. Bradley Ream's having a little bit of back and forth with some of the lap traffic here as him and Tim Hansen shuffled back and forth. This will allow for some of those in the back to try and catch up to him. Field still remains remotely unchanged here, as we still have 7 trucks on the lead lap, but John Brinker right there within range for Bradley Ream. Bradley Ream could potentially put him a lap down and we would only have 6 trucks on the lead lap. As we only have 59 laps to go here, this long green flag run is allowed for Bradley Ream to simply dominate. Chadwick nowhere in sight to make any difference at the front here. Still, a lot could happen in these closing 58 laps. Bradley Ream gets by John Brinker, putting him a lap down. And now John Brinker is going to have to be careful because he can still lose some positions here, as Connor Cooper behind him is 8th place, 1 lap down. Chadwick's trying to make the best of what he's got on track here, as the deficit is shrunk a little bit down to 2.5, 2.6 seconds. He's definitely maneuvering with the traffic a lot better than how he has been in prior laps. Chadwick making another move, getting by Andrew Moger. Lap traffic thereof. And Connor Cooper getting by John Brinker. That moves him up to 7th and Brinker back to 8th. As we're watching here on Chadwick, his deficit shrunk down to a 2.12, so he's closing in on Bradley Ream. He's going to need a little bit of luck and a whole lot of speed to actually get by him. But at the rate he's going, he will likely catch up to him at some point or another, as long as he continues to make these passes that he's making on the lap traffic. Another move here from Chadwick, getting by Brinker. 2.23 seconds. Oh, Brinker going on the inside is not going to help Chadwick's case one bit, as this is going to bump Chadwick backwards and make him lose momentum. Chadwick on the high side there. This is only going to slow down his trajectory. And just like that, Chadwick is going to lose a whole bunch of momentum to the leader that he was closing in on. Bradley Ream out there dominating the field. We might be able to coin the term a proper reaming if we get to see any more performances like this from Bradley, as he's reaming the field. And I would just double check that, but I'm pretty certain I used the word correctly. It's like getting a massive whooping or a beatdown from someone. Just like that, Chadwick has fallen off the radar. He's back 4 seconds now, as Bradley Ream looking more and more likely that he's going to cruise to victory on this one. There's no telling how things were initially going to play out, as we had Atlee Weiss out front leading over Tim Cording and Trevor Walker. But racing, you never know, anything can happen, and that's what we got to see today. Was when Tim Cording made a brutal mistake that cost him the race, racing amongst lap traffic, which honestly, Bradley Ream better be careful racing amongst his lap traffic. That's always a dangerous game to play. You never know if the leader might make contact with one of these lap cars and end up costing them their, finish here at the end of the day. Connor Cooper still holding in strong there, trying to catch up to the leader. Be amazing if we were talking for something that wasn't a lap down car, lap down truck fighting for its lap back. And we have another caution here that Bradley Ream is collected in here. The track being as blocked up and congested as it is, hard to get around. I don't know if Bradley Ream took too much damage there, but ultimately the 94 of Paulo Ladino brings out the caution here when the 34 of Avery Farrell spins him out. Truck comes back down into traffic, collecting the 113. Ooh, Atlee Weiss with nowhere to go. I think Bradley Ream just got some side glance damage there. As you can see, they're not done wrecking. We'll be able to see here what kind of damage. Yeah, that's a side glance if anything. Ooh, that hit there by the 38 could have been mildly cringeworthy. Taden Berggren's out. The 19 of Atlee Weiss likely out. So we're going to have another restart here tonight. And there's no telling exactly how this might play out now. "30 laps to go." It's going to be a 30-lap shootout, as we have 7 trucks on the lead lap. The 4 of Bradley Ream down on pit road getting service to his truck. Comes back out, rejoins the field towards the back. So he's going to have to race his way back through the field. Yeah, gets a quick gas and maybe mild cosmetic fix there, as Chadwick stayed out on this pit stop. That's going to put Bradley Ream all the way back to 6th. And there's no telling what we're going to get here for restart, if we'll get another cautions breed cautions kind of restart here. Chadwick now with the lead, surprisingly. All due in part to the caution collecting the 6 truck, or the 4 truck, ever so slightly. Restart zone now, and the green flag waves. We're likely going to get another caution here, just based on how packed tight these guys are. Chadwick maintains his lead. We get 1 lap under green here, as we've got 28 laps to go. Many drivers still trying to get their lap back. As you can see, Connor Cooper was on the lead lap and Chadwick gets by him. Chris Harvey, though, on the inside of Chadwick, gonna get his lap back, and he's gonna have to hope for a caution to get that lap all the way back. Chadwick settles down on the inside line here. Bradley Ream must have took enough damage to that truck because his pace is nowhere near where it was at the front of the field. Now we have another old school rivalry shaping up here from last year. Ant Meeperson and Chaz Chadwick running 1 and 2. Oh, correction. Chadwick is, Ant Meeperson's 1 lap down. Second place is actually Richard Townsend in the number 80 Menards truck. So great run from new contender here in the series. So we've got 20 laps to go. Richard Townsend still within sight there to catch up to Chadwick. Wouldn't that be the feel-good story of the week, having newcomer come out and win their first ever career win here in the Truck Series? Still has a lot of work cut out for him. Chadwick is no slouch in the lead here. This is definitely something that Chadwick needs, being the points leader and not having any wins yet looks kind of funny. And so getting that win will help secure the motion that he should be our points leader going throughout the season here. Jakov Rosevich getting by Townsend here, takes second away. Chadwick with a little bit of a buffer there, the lap traffic separating him and his contenders. Next in line would be the 08 of Al Bunch with a 4th place run so far. Great run for Al Bunch. Jack Ross should be proud seeing his 00 DSRM truck doing really good here at Knoxville. "14 laps to go, and Chadwick still holding the lead. These guys actually did settle into another green flag run here without back-to-back repetitive cautions. And we're going to get to see who's got the fastest truck here in the closing laps. So far looking to be Chadwick. As long as Chadwick don't make a mistake, Rosevich and Townsend have got a lot of ground to gain. Down to the final 10 laps here in our NOSVille 200 at Knoxville. Seeing a lot of ebb and flow in this race, and it seems like being the leader was the bad luck charm of the race. All of our leaders up to this point have fallen out of the lead. Atlee Weiss was there at one point. Tim Cording was there at one point. Bradley Ream was there. And now it's Chaz Chadwick. And perhaps Chadwick's going to have the fortune of the laps counting down here to keep himself out of that bad luck charm that everyone else has fallen into. With only 7 laps to go now. Gotta imagine 7's probably a lucky number. Is it Chadwick's to win or is it his to lose? Townsend gets back by Rosevich here as those two are fighting side by side, fighting hard. Rosevich getting back by him again, taking second away. Five laps to go for Chadwick. One thing's for certain, this is going to make the rest of the field sweat bullets because our points leader's finally going to potentially get a win here. And that's only going to stretch his points lead out even further amongst the rest of the field. One of the lap trucks comes down pit road. This allows them to have less traffic separating them from the leader. But it doesn't seem to be making much of a difference as Chadwick. Oh, and our others are pitting here with 3 laps to go. What does that mean for Chadwick? Is Chadwick going to stay out? Does he have a problem? Is everyone else having to pit? What the heck's going on here? So regardless, it's looking like Chadwick's going to be able to keep going. Al Bunch, now your second place driver. Chadwick's going to take the white flag this time by. The other two simply did not have enough gas in the tank to make it all the way. So instead of them finishing second and third, they're probably going to get mired back outside of the top 5. And Chadwick takes it home in the SpaceX LFG Motorsports Dodge Ram, winning the race here. Coming home second, Al Bunch in the 08 truck. And brand new to the series, 20 of Gavin Gray coming home in third. Great start for his season. Bradley Ream brings it home fourth and minimizes how much points he's going to lose overall. And 5th place belongs to Chris Harvey. So great run for some of the new contenders here in the series. Rosevich and Townsend, 7th and 8th after they made that last pit stop. They only fell 1 lap down. But congratulations to Chaz Chadwick for surviving a chaotic NOSVille 200 here this evening. A lot of crazy carnage and wrecks and everything we were all on the plate for here. And he's only going to expand his points lead ever further on the rest of the field. Seems that the research and development has paid off for Chadwick, getting that truck primed and ready and finally getting to see victory lane this year. Seems that the bad luck stint continues for Tim Cording, whereas this is probably going to cause him great stress going towards the latter half of the regular season here. He's going to have a hard time getting it into the playoffs. "38 positions en route to a 40th place finish for Tim Cording."
Did you have that same ignition problem?
Definitely not good for him in his point standings. So thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed the NOSVille 200. And next online would be the NOSVille 300 for the Busch Series. So hopefully y'all can tune in for that one. And glad y'all tuned in for this one. Have a good night and catch you on the flip side.